Okay, before you say anything, the only reason I'm wearing pigtails is because it's 30 degrees in Australia. So, I didn't have a choice. Hi, it's Brighid, and today I'm going to be talking about my new song, Runaways. Cue montage of people that I look like. So I thought I'd try this new thing out today where I spend less time sort of deconstructing the lyrics and focus more so on the process and the behind the scenes and the inspiration. So the reason I wrote this song was actually because I was approached by Dom Farah, name drop. He makes short films, long films, animations, songs, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I just think he's pretty neat. Is that the Marge reference? Anyway, I'd actually previously sent some of my music to Dom to see what he thought of it and if he could give me any feedback. So he'd already heard a little bit of my style before, and he asked me if I had anything similar to this RAC song. I think that's how you say it. So I thought, okay, let's pull an all-nighter and write a song for Dom Farah, and that is exactly what I did. Is this becoming too fangirl? I'm really trying not to. He needed something for the end credits music of his short film Displacements, which is now out. I actually didn't see his message until a couple of days after he sent it. So by the time I had sent him Runaways, he had already found something. But it was still pretty cool. So in short, he didn't end up using it, but he said he liked it, so I'm happy. And I got a song out of it too. And it was a really cool challenge actually, writing for something, because I've never really written for a short film or for someone else before, I guess. I've only ever written songs about my own experiences or from characters that I've made up. So it was a really fun challenge actually. And to do it in such a short amount of time, that was a challenge. So Dom Farah's short film Displacements is a science fiction film. So that is very heavily referenced in the lyrics. I will point to exact lyrics later on. I was also in the beginning sort of influenced by the song that he'd sent me as a kind of reference to what he was looking for, by the walking pace of it and the electronic sound of it as well. And then also there is a kind of 80s sound to it as well, because a lot of science fiction does remind me of the 80s, and there is kind of this marriage between science fiction and 80s nostalgia at the moment in the media, so I guess that's kind of like where my mind was at. Yeah, now moving on to the process. So I mentioned before that I wrote this song in a night. Pretty much the second I got home from uni, I started work on it, and I went to bed at about 5 AM, but I didn't go to sleep because there was no point by that stage. This song didn't actually always sound like this though. For the first couple hours I was working on this other song and I just didn't really like how it was turning out. So I changed the tempo of it. I changed pretty much everything about it except for the chord progression. And then that became Runaways. So this was what the original Runaways, I guess, sounded like. Yeah, so not really anything like it. I'm a lot happier with how it turned out afterwards. So this song was made in Oxy Studio, like kinda was. I did use live piano though. I layered it over the synth piano. What I really wanted for this song was for it to, on the surface level at least, appear like an upbeat, boppy song, but once you dig a little deeper, it's actually a little bit creepy and off-putting and unsettling. So the la la la's and the whistling in the chorus are intended to sort of toe the line between happy and carefree and a little bit creepy, a little bit uncomfortable. I also wanted to reflect this in the contrast between the instrumental of the song and the lyrics of the song. So while the instrumental is quite upbeat, the lyrics, on the other hand, have this undertone of urgency and trying to escape and spooky stuff. And so I wanted there to be some kind of jarring quality to that. Oh my god, I'm thirsty. So like I said before, there are some direct references to Displacements. For example, the lyric "losing grip, falling through time" references how in Dom's story, people are literally displaced throughout time. That is one of the more direct references. Other lyrics like I run down endless halls, look for an escape, all I find is the darkness that calls, reference that tension and that urgency of needing to escape from something, which is a theme that is explored in Displacements, at least somewhat. So the lyrics are quite abstract, and that's mostly down to the fact that I was working off of an early draft of Displacements, and so that was where I got pretty much all of my inspiration from. There are also references to being studied and researched, like analyze me with your clinical instruments, scrutinize every word I say. Like those two lyrics, I guess, are sort of the more direct references. I tried to achieve the 80s inspired sound by using that very distinct bass, and there's also a sound in the chorus which reminds me of a video game from the 80s. I thought I'd just quickly talk about the lyric video for a second as well, because that took me quite a while to make. I don't know if you could tell. I've never really made a lyric video or a video like that before, so it was pretty experimental for me. I was visually quite inspired by pop art and its use of bright, bold block colors. This song was quite driven by its tempo and its pace, so I thought it was very important for the color change every beat to sort of accentuate that. Technicality-wise, I used Final Cut Pro to edit everything together and Photoshop to make the animations. So here are some final thoughts about Runaways that I wanted to share. So sometimes when I write songs, they initially mean something very different to what I later interpret them to mean. With Runaways, after listening to it for a few times, I've realized that it really does explore the concept of confidence versus insecurity. And it acknowledges that they don't just exist in isolation. You can be both. You can have days when you're insecure, days when you're confident, days when you're insecure and confident at different times, days when you're insecure and confident at the same time, moments where you're insecure, moments where you're confident. I don't think they are personality traits, really. Or at least they shouldn't be confined to being only personality traits. For me, I view confidence and insecurity more so as moods. And this is getting too self-helpy now, so I'm gonna reel it in a bit and tell you how I think it relates to my song. So my camera actually just overheated and shut itself down because its internal temperature was too high. Even though I have air conditioning literally on it. Anyway, as I was saying, the lyric falling into line, now I'm feeling out of place, references a deliberate attempt to try and fit in, even if it leaves you feeling out of place. Whereas the lyric contaminate my heart but you'll never take my mind is quite defiant. Another line that I think sums this up quite nicely is, and I never would have made a break for it if I knew how much they'd take for it, if I had any idea of the consequence. So I wouldn't have tried to go out of my way to be myself if I had known what the consequence of that would be. But now I'm here, I'm gonna stand up for myself. I guess that's part of the reason why I didn't want to do a lyric by lyric deconstruction today, because even for me, the person who wrote the song, the meaning has changed over time. So there isn't really one right or wrong way to view this song, really. I just hope that whatever way you view it, you like it, really. That's all I can hope for. Even if you don't analyze it and pick it apart and you don't notice that it is a little bit unhinged in the lyrics at times, I guess, I still want this song to work as a summery bop, even though it's like not summer for 70% of the population. And I still hope that you enjoy it musically. So anyway, thanks for watching. Links are all in the description. You can stream it anywhere. Lyric video's up. No one likes a long outro. Thank you so much for the support. Bye.